Welcome to the Squad Games Podcast. Squad Games Podcast.
So yesterday, I went to IHOP.
Yeah, why would you want to go to IHOP?
Because I was hanging out with Alex Popov, shout out to Alex Popov, and a few other friends. And they were like, we should go to IHOP.
To all of you guys, why do you want to go to IHOP? Like, you can literally go to like Albertsons, buy the same food for like half the cost, throw it in the oven, mix it all together, and you have the same food.
Exactly my point. I paid about I want to say $18 for the 222 or something. Two eggs, two sausage links, and two pancakes. Pancakes are cheap as hell to make. And when I'm buying eggs, I pay $1.30 for 12.
Homie,
like
you could buy like 12 eggs for like $5 right now. You could buy like 12 sausage links for, I don't know. I'm also going to say like $5 right now, right? And then you could make like batter, or you could buy even the pre-made fucking pancakes for like $5. So you could like have a week's worth of breakfast for the same cost you just paid at IHOP. That's fucking
literally
wild.
that. And so I'm here to talk some shit about IHOP. It was mid as hell. And where I am, there's the IHOP and then there's the Everest nearby. I remember I went to it once and was like, I should have just gone to Everest for like the same price. What am I doing here, guys?
You know, another thing that we can talk shit about, Denny's. Fuck Denny's. It's not
fucking
good.
Denny's, right? I used to love getting like stranded at Denny's, but now the price for what they are, like at 3 a.m., it ain't worth going to Denny's. Personally,
the only time you ever go to Denny's is on your birthday when you're poor, because they give you a free meal on your birthday specifically. But then anyone you bring, unless you go by yourself with it, which means,
that's a sad life.
I remember one birthday, I didn't really celebrate it, but I went to every single restaurant that gives out free food. Me and Brian, me and my cousin Brian, we share a birthday. So one of our birthdays, we just went to every single, yes, we were poor, but we went to every single restaurant that would give out free food for your birthday just to see. And then we would just walk into some places and be like, hey, it's our birthday. Do you guys give out free birthday meals? And they're like, let me see your ID. They look at it and they'll be like, no. Or sometimes, yeah,
it's still aggressive.
Yeah.
So it was pretty disappointing, almost as disappointing as
the Balance Dataslate. So I'm typically rather negative on most Balance Dataslates. I don't remember any time that I've like been positive on a Balance Dataslate. Yes, they have some positive things. Even this one has some positive things. But there's still things that I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen everyone on our Discord in my immediate friend circle, other people that I've talked to in the community. We'll speak of the reason why usually I don't talk to anyone about the Balance Dataslate. I usually keep all my own ideas, my thoughts, and all that kind of stuff ready for the podcast, ready for my own content stuff. Cause I don't want it to get tainted by other people's views or whatever. Right. Mm-hmm. I like to come at it with like a reactionary mindset. Right. And, it's rather interesting. They just kind of like phoned it home. And I think that's like the thing is like, it just feels like incomplete, phoned home. I'm pretty sure they hired ET for this one because he just wanted a phone home and they let him. So, it is what it is. Well, G, how do you feel about the Balance Dataslate?
I mean, like
a lot of your favorite teams got buffed.
They did,
but a lot of your favorite teams didn't.
Like two of the ones I actively played did not get anything, and I didn't expect them to, but it would have been nice.
Yeah.
But that's just being like anybody ever could be like, oh, the team I played didn't get something. It'd be nice though, So I'm like, but critically speaking, it was a lot less than I'd ever expect. This felt more like an FAQ kind of fix. I mean, obviously there was some balance stuff, but for the most part, it felt like a FAQ change.
Well, Valrak recently came out in a video on his Monday rumor videos and said that Tacoma very well may be the next reveal for the next thing coming in Kill Team, which is supposedly a new edition, right? Which means that we would probably start getting teases and all that kind of stuff. So maybe if that's the case, we can give Games Workshop the benefit of the doubt that they're looking at the future of stuff and they're just trying to make things just get rid of the problems while, I think they still failed in that aspect. Like if I'm giving everyone the biggest benefit of the doubt I can, right? Mm-hmm. I definitely think that if that's not the case, then like, do you know how much it sucks as everyone listening? Do you know how much it sucks as a Kill Team content creator to wait 3 months for something to happen and then this happens? It sucks.
It's like you're thinking like, all right, here it comes, man. It's been a dry season. It's drier than the California dryness and nothing. It's not even an oasis. It's like,
this year's been like more productive than last year. Last year we had like a bunch of teams release. And then like, I think in June was the last release and we were all hyped for the summer of Melee. And then just nothing happened for like 8 months, at least this year we're getting teams, you know what I mean? Like there's some stuff going on, but like the last Balance Dataslate was pretty decent. It was pretty decent. There was a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of stuff, but this one, there's like 7 teams changed out of the 33 teams, 34 teams. If you include all the compendium is one team.
That's fair. It counts as one.
Yeah, it counts as one. It's pretty interesting. The reason why I was able to talk to a bunch of people about the Balance Dataslate this time around is on my way down to work. I work in San Diego, which is like 3 hours away from my home. And I'll stay down there for like 2 days or so and drive back. It was funny because I was like, hey, Giacomo. So I leave my house at 5 a.m. to skip traffic, right? Yeah. So I text Giacomo, like, I was like, hey, Balance Dataslate dropped. Hit me up when you're awake. Giacomo usually wakes up at 7 or so. Sorry to put you on blast for what time you wake up in the morning.
Hey, man, that's my circadian rhythm. Don't even worry.
Yeah. And then he's like, he hits me up at like 5:30. Oh, I'm up. I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you up so early, my guy? And he's like, why don't you tell everyone why you're waking up so early? So
in California, or really any deserty-esque state, it's unbearable during the summer to exercise after like work.
You're taking the Mark Wahlberg approach.
Exactly. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm doing that. I just don't want to deal with the heat.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm waking up early.
Yeah. So he hits me up and we're talking about everything on my drive down. And I keep looking down at the dashboard and it keeps saying an hour and 48 minutes for me to get there. I was like, dude, this thing must be glitched. Like Google Maps is like, it literally hasn't changed since I left my house. Right. And it was like that all the way until like 20 miles left. I had 20 miles left in my journey. And for anyone, and then I got stuck in 6.5 hours worth of traffic or more.
I think it was more, right?
Yeah. My total journey took 9.5 hours. I left my house at 5 a.m. I didn't get down there till like 9:30. It was fucking miserable. In fact, I moved 6 miles in 6 hours. Yes, you can walk faster than that, everyone. That's
you should have taken a nap.
I should have pulled over and taken a nap. Yeah. Essentially, there's this huge accident, and everyone's like, "Oh, just get off the freeway and go around." Well, that would be good normally, but there's a stretch of the 5 freeway here in California, which is like our largest freeway, that to the left and to the right of it is a Navy military base. And it's like a 12 to 14 mile stretch of road and there's like a nuclear power plant along the road. We call it the boobs here in California, or at least I do. When you look over, you see it looks like 2 giant boobs sticking out the ground. And yeah, I just looked at that for like 4.5 hours, you know? It was cool. I was like, wow, this would be crazy if that shit blew up, you know? I'll be fucking dead.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I was able to talk to quite a few people, get a bunch of different people's insights. And whether I believe those or not, you know, we're gonna get into those here. So, and then also when I was down there working, I was able to watch 2 Kill Team games play, both with scouts in them, and I can give you my feedback on what I think about them. I did not play though. So yeah, well, we have a question from our Discord, Screech. A shout out to Screech, Australia. He asked us a question, and we will be answering that today. So, but that's specifically some of our casual games, what goes on our casual club, and also like weekly updates on that. And you'll find out soon, my friend. So we'll go through season 1 kill teams first. G, does that sound good to you?
Sounds great.
Hell yeah. So hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So Compendium once again got fuck all.
Sounds good.
Fuck area got fuck all.
Mm-hmm.
Chalneth Pathfinders did get 3 changes.
Yes, they did.
Equaling to a nerf. So that's useful. Novitiates once again got nothing. So we have. I'll take the first one. G, you take the next one, and
Sounds
I'll
good.
take the last one. So the MB3 recon drone. The operatives analyze unique action. You can re-roll one of your attack dice instead of any or all. That's pretty big. Any kind of screwing over re-rolls definitely helps, you know?
Especially for teams that just can put out a lot of firepower because of the bodies and the fact that their weapons are standard 4/5. Like what?
Yeah, and since recon drones can benefit from bonded, typically sometimes that will even be null and void, right? So yeah, it's I think it's pretty decent, you know. I think it's a relatively nice change compared to I'm going to shoot you with 6 shots and then, you know.
It's a good change. It's simple and it's fine.
Yeah.
Then we get to the next one, which is the Drone Controller Pathfinder. This operative's drone scout ability in a battle that uses the hazardous area rules, which is beta decima. The drone operative must be set up wholly within 2 circle, 4 inches of your drop zone. In a battle that uses close quarter rules, Into the Dark, you cannot set up the drone operative as specified. Instead, at the end of the scouting step, if that drone operative is wholly within your drop zone and has a conceal order, it can perform a free normal action and or operate hatch action, and its orders cannot be changed in the first turning point. Now, I want to point something out. This close quarter change is pretty much exactly how the
everyone else does it.
Everyone else does it now, yes. And the Jaeger specifically have this fix in their book already.
Yeah, I think they've gone through this and changed everyone's. Now, I think Pathfinders have like skirted by this exact problem for like since Into the Dark released. Like they've always been able to do it. And finally Games Workshop is like, oh, this is a problem? Okay, I guess we'll change it. None other team can do this? Okay, cool. So yeah, that's super, super good and nice. Big fan of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. This is a much needed change. So if you want your recon drone to go up, at least it has to remain on conceal, which is good. A big one is recon sweep. Strategic deploy cannot be used on the first turning point.
Hooray!
Yay! But here's the thing: on a hot dog map, right? You have a 3-inch deployment, right? So 3-inch deployment plus your pre-game dash at 6 inches. You steal it from a worthy cause, right? So you're allowed to go first still. So you've already moved up the board 6 inches from your 22-inch. The whole board is 22 inches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're at 3. You move up. You're at 6. You steal, TP1 from your opponent because you're on an objective. You don't have to do recon. You can't do recon sweep anymore. So that minus is 3 inches. That's huge. But Then you just do Monka, and then you can still move 6 inches and free dash 3 inches, which is now 9 inches plus your 6 inches, right? That's a total of 15 inches plus your 6-inch grenade throw, which is 21 inches. So the only way to fully stay safe from a Pathfinder Alpha Strike now is to line up your 25 millimeter bases along the back of your deployment zone, or to place a really nice barricade.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. It's, if somebody still wants to nuke you turn 1, they very well still may be able to. So does this really hurt the team?
I don't think so, because I feel like a lot of really high level players aren't really doing this turn 1 because everyone's expecting them to do it turn 1.
There's 2 types of Pathfinder players. There's the Pathfinder players who try to kill you on turn 1 and make your advantage as little as possible, because this is one of the teams that can do it. And then you have, teams that players that try to play for really strong turning point 2, 3, and 4. I'd say the weighting is much more safe, but you have way fewer blowouts. So like if you play really aggressive turning point 1, like you can win the game 24-6. That's with painted score, right? If you play the other way, you might win like 22-12 or 14 or something like that. So like, good thing Kill Team doesn't have differential scoring depending on like how hard you win, like old 40K metas.
Seriously.
Yeah. Like, because old 40K metas are like, oh, if you win by like 0 to 2 points, you get, or if you, I think it's like you'd score 1 tournament point, and then it would be like, if you win by 3 to 6 points, you score 2, and anything greater than 6 points, you score 3 tournament points. I think that would like show off the skills of players, but also like it would also show off like it would make the game way more toxic than it should be.
Yeah.
Way toxic. So, I'm glad that's not a thing. But this team is now worse on turning point 1. Congratulations, Games Workshop. Thank you.
I mean, hey, at least they got rid of one type of player, right? We're just making more of the other type of player.
Yeah. So, I mean, they really nerfed them turning point 1 with the drone controller, Pathfinder operator, and the recon sweep. The MB3 recon drone. Cool. You're allowed to take them for free now from when they, how many dots does this team have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They have 11 changes from conception.
Wow. It's almost like a new team, just like Warp Coven.
Well, we're going to have to count to see if any other team has as many.
So 4, currently 11's the highest.
7, 8, 9, 10 for Warp Coven.
So that's pretty
Prute
close.
have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Prute are the kings of 1, 2, 3, 4,
no, there's
5,
another
6,
one.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 for Higher Tech Circle because they sucked on release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for Exaction. Hearthkin also sucked on release. And in fact, some would say they still suck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Felgor now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what we're seeing is teams that come out like insanely strong with a shit ton of these, and insanely good or insanely bad with a shit ton of these. Colts also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a lot of. There's quite a few teams that just come out like beyond.
Right, they were broken on the way out. Like, okay, the manufacturer recall.
At least Orcs only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Right, like five I can expect, like over the, especially because they're one of the oldest teams. Like at least their changes were gradual.
Yeah. Pathfinders though, my goodness, it's kind of like when you're going like on antidepressant medicine or something, and the doctor's trying to figure out like the right cure and just keeps giving you different things, and they just keep fucking you up.
I mean, I can relate. Not in that exact way, but I'll be empathetic.
I know. I
feel like as I play more Castrican casually, I like their ability to like roll again for the initiative. And I think, can a worthy cause just become that instead of being 2 CP? Like you get to do it once and you have it. Can it just be the other thing?
What do you mean?
Like where you can re-roll your initiative? Because absolutely guarantee getting it feels like still strong.
Yeah, I mean, if kill team stays the same, we can hope for that change.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's in the future? Right now, we're just going to try to live in the present.
Maybe they get a reroll with +1 or something like that.
For 2 CP, a reroll +1 that seems pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if you just get to reroll, maybe 1 CP.
Exactly. Yeah, that's fine. Exactly.
Once per game.
Like if you just make it the Castrican thing, because then it'll be like less feel bad. Like, all right, I won the roll off, and you go, no, I have the roll off. Like, and now you just get dead.
Yeah.
That's kind of feel bad moments. Like one thing is to reroll, another thing is like to guarantee, because you could still like they get a 6 when it's their turn to win the priority. Like it doesn't matter if you reroll, you lose either way.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So Pathfinders. Got a couple changes. I'm down for any kind of a Pathfinder nerf, especially with them winning 6 tournaments in this past data slate, which is the most of anything else. If anyone wants to listen to our statistics show, which will go more in depth on statistics and how we feel about some of these changes in more in depth than some other stuff, statistically and like how they kind of affect metas and stuff. Yesterday, at the time of this recording, it would be tomorrow. But yesterday, we live streamed our Twitch MetaWatch show, and you can find it on YouTube. So
there you go. Check it out. For all you stat heads out there who really want to get that edge in your next tournament, or just understand how the game works.
Yeah,
a little more.
Legionary. Your roster can contain operatives from all 4 marks of chaos keywords, but when selecting a kill team for battle, you still cannot have the Khorne and Slanesh, Nurgle, and Tzeentch.
Makes sense. Honestly, I was so confused when the team first came out that they didn't have this, because it's like, well, they're in your roster. You're not putting them side by side yet. Like, what?
I mean, the only thing that are really like, if you still try to take full teams of certain things, like you still can't get all 20 spots is still not enough. But if you're only trying to get like 1 Khorne operative and take like the rest Nurgle, and then you're trying, and like, so you have like 8 or 9 Nurgle, 1 Khorne, then you could probably do the same thing for Tzeentch and Slanesh, right? So it's still possible now to at least get everything on your roster.
Yeah, like this is perfect for splashing the little characters like you just mentioned. Like sometimes you need the Khorne guy or something.
Yeah.
And that's perfect. That's all you really need it for. Honestly, it should have been there from the beginning. Otherwise, I think personally, outside
does it make the team that much better though?
No, I was going to say I think Legionnaires as a team is already almost perfect, save for elites, and that's just an innate problem with elites for the most part, and that's more of a core rule that would have to change. So otherwise, I think the team is kind of like perfect. There's enough operatives to really pick from, enough different kind of weapons to deal with any problem.
And we've seen them do well at tournaments, but we've also seen them do very poorly at tournaments. It kind of depends. Like every tournament is a meta in itself. So
your local meta.
Yeah. So it can be rather difficult to kind of like we had Bay Area Championship. They did really, really well. But there was a lot of like Felgor, and there were a lot of Nemesis Claw and a few other teams that they could definitely do well into. And there was like only 1 Vedguard player and 0 Pathfinders. So it's kind of like, I think each meta goes from tournament to tournament, which is pretty interesting, pretty interesting.
It is. And so, Legionary didn't really need a touch in my opinion. This is just nice. I'm glad they got this.
I think my favorite change about the Phobos team, which if none of you knew this, there is a change to Phobos. It's the fact that scouts do more damage than phobos.
Yeah, that's a low key change. then they're and to intercession, because intercession only have chainswords that are 4/5. We'll get to that in a moment.
Technically, math wise, this team can still do. I think they still do more damage. Like if you do math everything out, I think.
Yeah,
maybe.
But from like numbers though, like, you know.
Yeah, we'll go over that when we get to scouts. It's fantastic. Blooded, the traitor Ogren. And it's interesting. At one point in time, for the very beginning of this data slate, Blooded were the top of the meta for about 6 weeks. Blooded were 55, 58, 57% win rate. They ended this data slate with a 49% win rate. Now, you can look at this nerf in two ways. Is it a big dude and they're just putting it in line with everything else, right? Which I guess would make sense. Or are they actively targeting Blooded because they were strong at one point in time in this data slate? Ultimately, I just don't know if you ever take the Ogre now. I guess maybe on Into the Dark, but or terrain packs that have a lot of heavy, like the WTC. So interesting to say the least, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fine. I know some people have told me that they're not really taking the Traitor Ogren competitively as often.
Dude, I got smushed. Nick Craven brought it and charged all four of my gunners.
And that was Into the Dark, right?
Yeah.
And Into the Dark, I think it's a perfect place for them because like they can hide around corners and stuff in open boards where they might get shot more, especially now with this new change. You know?
Absolutely.
So like, it's good. I think it's fine. Bringing it in line with all the other teams that have a big monster.
Yeah. I don't think any of the other teams were below 45% win rate. So for season 1. So, you know, good job. Season 2, we have Gellerpox Infected, got nothing. Void Dancers, surprisingly got nothing. Apparently, the Fly and the Flip Belts were not a mistake. And they decided that no matter what, climbing down will always cost 2, even if it doesn't cost anyone else anything. Apparently, that's not a mistake. So, okay then. Void Dancers, they have a 50% win rate right now, but as a team, the Void Dancers became so unpopular as a team. They are one of the lowest played factions in the game. It's crazy. In this data slate lasted for 12 weeks. They had 68 games. Brood Brothers in 2 weeks had 40.
Yeah.
This team in 12 weeks was taken competitively 68 times, which is a super low amount, right? It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that this change just made everyone stop playing them. I think Mandrakes also probably had a play in it, you know, how strong they are, but
right. And if you're going to play a team like that's kind of like that, I guess you'd go one of those options.
Yeah. Star Striders got nothing. Wormblade surprisingly also got nothing. Makes you think about a few things of they obviously, whoever's doing the thing doesn't have their thumb on the pulse. I think that their rerolls are way too strong as a team.
Yeah, they're constantly rerolling, and now the Brood Brothers have kind of what they have. So it's like you just slap their really good ability onto a Vet Guard for the most part, which was pretty good. Like, you're making this hard here. It's a hard argument to say that Brood Brothers wouldn't be good since they have all these really good abilities of all these teams.
Mm-hmm. So I'm surprised that Wormblade didn't get a change. They have above a 55% win rate at the end of 12 weeks and are a very, very strong team. They didn't get anything. So, all right, then. Hunter Clade also got nothing, and Warp Coven got nothing. So, again, nothing from season 2. This seems to be a trend. So, we have 3 teams touched from season 1, 0 teams touched from season 2. So, I guess that was the Kill Team Annual. Season 2, I guess there's other.
There's one that got touched in season 2. 2 that got touched in season 2.
Yeah, I guess. So
3.
Kill Team Annual, nothing happened. which I guess is the White Dwarf teams.
Yeah, the White Dwarf team's just putting them in line.
And then the Kill Team Annual, so Gellerpox and Star Striders. Got it. So season 2, I'm just a big fat liar today. Farstalker Kinban. Nothing. They got buffed last data slate and got worse. Way worse. So it's interesting that maybe they think that they just need more time, right, to get better, or who knows. But whatever the buffs that they're giving this team they're the wrong buffs. And I think that we've seen that many times throughout the analyzing the data slates. A lot of times what they're buffing, they're just like, oh, we're going to be creative and buff these teams like this because it's interesting. Or we're going to do this because that's not what people are asking for, or this or that. And guess what? It's still not the right pick. The Farstalker Kinban fucking suck. They have 12 changes. 12 changes. And they are still one of the worst teams in the game.
Yep, just not enough.
People have brought them and done well with them, but they have a really high skill ceiling, right? A really high skill ceiling, but the average player base cannot take this team and do well with them. The statistics are showing that they have a 37% win rate. So that means if you go to a tournament, you're more than likely going 1-4, 1-3, right? Or 2-4. Right. So like it's frustrating to see a team that has 12 changes not get better at just period. So I have no idea. And I'm sure Games Workshop is in the same thing. Maybe they just need a complete redesign. I think it's weird that they have a bird that like changes people only within like, I don't know. They just like tried to be like weird and creative with the team, and it just like failed. So Breachers also have a really poor win rate. It's in the 40s, low 40s, and didn't get anything. They're getting screwed over right now. Intercession, 36% win rate. And, for the past 12 weeks, they've had a 36% win rate. And guess what the win rate was before that?
Poor.
And guess what the win rate was before that?
Also poor.
Huh. And then Jason won SoCal Open. So he's the one that's, back in last October. But this team hasn't been touched in literally a year. They nerfed them 1 year ago, and they've been bad ever since then. Durable, methodical, rapid, and all those other things. They just nerfed everything good about the team, and they just can't perform in a competitive environment. I think we were saying that for a while a year ago, kind of gotten some hot water with some people. But in the end, Intercession is not good, and it hasn't been, and it's only getting worse with some of these other buffs, so this is the most disappointed. I was really disappointed last time that Intercession didn't get a buff. Extremely disappointed this time that Intercession didn't get a buff again. I just live in Crazy Town. Like, I don't understand.
It's not going to happen. And that's just the way it is. What
do you think Intercession need?
I still am on the firm belief that they should just be able to choose their
yeah, but gee, is that going to bring them above a 40% win rate if they can choose and change, be like, oh, I'm going to take this or that, like, is it really going to change that much?
Probably not, because you might just take some of the best stuff anyways.
It's the same thing like a Legionary change. The Legionaries are they're like, oh, cool. This is just a quality of life buff. It's not like an actual buff.
Because what else? Again, it's innately an issue with elites. Because whenever you play Intercession in more casual games, they dominate. Like, if the players are just, everyone's kind of an equal match, not too crazy good. People are like, what? They have 14 wounds? How do I kill this thing? And then you're just like dishing out, 14 damage against one guy. So you're absolutely obliterating that, or you get good rolls and you destroy 2 guys a turn. Like, they still are strong. It's just at the tournament levels, people know how to play around that with no problem because they can beat elites. So like, what do you do?
Buff. Make their chain swords 5/6. Give them the scout treatment.
Well, we're at
Why the fuck
operative.
not?
All elites now have 7 operatives.
All elites have 7 operatives. All elites get +1 wound. You know, like if they're not going to go back, because Games Workshop's pretty notorious for whatever they put out, whatever nerfs they give out, they usually typically don't take something back. I think they did it on Hunterclade once, right? But I don't see them changing things too often and just reverting bad decisions. Look at Commandos, for instance. They made a really bad decision to give the team every single operative and make them 11 activations. And what did they do instead? They just nerfed the bomb squig into the ground. They nerfed the choppa, and then they nerfed the just a scratch boy because they're like, hey, we don't want to go back and admit that we did something wrong. So we're going to go through here and do this. And it's like Intercession is like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have released them for free. So we're just going to make them bad. Like, I don't understand.
Maybe they don't want like too many crazy rules or something. Because again, if it is a free team that people just, it's always the joke that everyone has of Marines floating around their house somewhere, right? So like here, you could play Kill Team with those Marines you have floating around. So
yeah,
I'm
make them good so that people want to play the game. Like if they just go to a tournament and they play Intercession and they have the worst time possible with a team that they could always get for free, at least if they have a good time playing a team that they could basically have, they'll be more than likely to buy other things for Kill Team. Like if they have a good time, right? Like I think that's the most important thing about balance. We don't want a balanced game ultimately, right? Otherwise we would just play chess. We don't want a fully balanced game, but we want teams that are at least in the same stratosphere so that when we are playing Kill Team, we at least feel like we have a chance into any matchup, right? Let's like, you're playing Intercession. Oh, Pathfinder's a really bad thing for me. But hey, like if I do this right or I do this right, I still have a chance, Right now with Intercession, it's like...
Which again, I think that might inherently be an issue with elites and the way you score points in the game.
Yeah. I think Yeah, because Intercession
themselves, I think it's fine. Like the team itself is pretty tanky. They can hit. Obviously, Plasma's a monster, but a Plasma's a monster against everything. So it's not like a good argument to say. Yeah, well, that's an innate problem with the crit ops and the way that we play competitive currently, right? Like, right. Again, with loot being so heavily skewed to GA2 horde armies, capture being skewed to really, really tanky people who you can't remove from the board easily. Secure is like the most objectively like balanced mission, but also like having six objective points when a team has 6 models is objectively flawed. Right. Like they're you're going to lose models. How are you supposed to score primaries unless if you're playing secure or capture where you have some sort of a sticky method? If you have 6 models, it's practically impossible. I mean, if crit ops changes though, it changes the balance for every single team. Right. Because the way they play on a mission would be different. So yeah. And then like we would have to go back to the drawing board for everything. So we kind of have to look at this as we have to balance for crit ops because that is the way we play the game rather than just be like, hey, let's change crit ops and then have to change every other team. Right. Because even though GW might give you like missions in the book and stuff, not as many people are playing those missions in the books. They're playing the crit ops, right? That's how you play the game. It's the most standardized way. Yeah. If you're playing narratively, you might not care about some of these things. You might not even play some of these things. And that's cool. Casually, same thing, like, oh, something changed. Oh, I didn't know these guys got better or these guys got worse, Right. You might not ever know that if you didn't look it up. But generally most games, whether casual or not, are fueled by some level of competition that helps the game, it keeps it going. People like the competition. Absolutely. So, even casual is kind of based a little bit in in competitive. I was just playing 40K yesterday, right? And I took what would consider a more fun list, doing all the fun rules, realizing as I was playing the game going, I can't use my fun rules because in order to score points in this game, I have to move forward, but my rules all tell me to stand still. So that doesn't quite help me. Like, so you'd have to build a specific narrative for those rules to play it, as opposed to playing just the game that we know, and here's the rules that the company released, so play it. But generally it's more aimed at a competitive audience, in my opinion. Yeah. So in the reason we're doing the data slate and the reason people are listening most likely is because they have some level of interest in competitive and casual play. And again, it's fueled by the game. So
here's an interesting thing about Higher Tech. Higher Tech is the next up on our list. They got one change, and it's quite a big change.
Huge.
There's a lot of people who I've talked to that have mixed feelings on it. A lot of people think the team is dead. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. And I think if you want your models to successfully reanimate on a 2+, I think this is fine. I would have liked to personally see it go from D3+3 rather than losing Living Metal and D3+3. So Living Metal heals you at the beginning of your turn. This happens, I believe, after it. So you no longer gain D3+3 plus more health. I can't tell you how fucking toxic that is. Okay, for all the Higher Tech lovers out there, it is such a toxic thing to kill a model, have it come back on a 2+, and it not be wounded. Here's the thing. Your model died, right? I saw things happen at Dallas when I was playing at this tournament where there was just a Higher Tech player who would move forward with no cover, shoot stuff on engage. Those models would die, and then they would just come back to life and they would just steamroll some people. And then we saw them win Tacoma. We saw them win Adepticon with Shane. We saw them do a couple other things. This is before some of the changes. But like there are really anything that deals with death and changes death and the way things happen in the game with death, including Vetguard with only in death, including with, intercession with shooting after they die. Anything that deals with that kind of timing is really, really strong and has to be balanced. If your model dies, your model should come back. If your model is basically guaranteed to come back to life, they should come back wounded, right? Look at Felgor, right? They come back wounded, and then they only last for one round. This team at least gets, if you keep your model safe, sure, they're wounded, but like they might not die, like that's up to positional and how they die in the positional battle, right? I think that this is objectively a good change. Now, here's the thing. If your model comes back on a 3+, maybe you give them back everything, right? Because now it's going to happen 40% of the time or 60% of the time they'd come back rather than like, I don't know, 75 to 80% of the time they come back with this, right? So like, if you think that you would want your models to have a less likelihood to come back, but they come back with more wounds and not injured, then I think that it should be much more dependent on a dice roll rather than it basically happening automatically.
Yeah, I'm okay with the change. I think you're right. It should probably just be D3+3. So you potentially could be healed, but you might more likely still be injured. Because you're right. It does feel bad when they come back with like super strong wounds again. You can't see them again, or they just like take you out. And it can be a struggle.
Even when this team comes back and people are like, oh, well, they're just going to die again right afterwards. Well, guess what? You're still wasting your opponent's activation points to kill that model again.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're still ruining your opponent's activation pool and the way that they are playing the game because they have to deal with an operative that they just dealt with. Right. So like it feels bad for opponents as well. I think still this is a good change for Higher Tech because Higher Tech were low key, like super, super good. Super, super good. Could they have focused on something else? Absolutely. But they already have how many changes here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 changes.
Yeah, and they don't really need the other changes. Honestly, if they kept the original reanimation protocol, I probably wouldn't be that upset either. I mean, I'd be like, well, I still have to deal with it. But this is a fine change. I think it's fine. I think, like you mentioned, they're overreacting because you're still going to play the game and they still have the tools to absolutely wipe you out. So whatever.
They do. And they had like a 52% win rate or 50% win rate, something like that. So like did they need a nerf? Probably not.
Yeah,
I think we talked about this last time that we didn't want to see a lot of nerfs. We just wanted to see a lot of buffs. And ultimately we did not get that. So, we'll be a little bit tad bit more negative. Kasserkin.
Nothing.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. Nothing happened. They're still performing really well at high end games. And then they're still struggling overall with the overall win rate. That's a very difficult team to pilot, right? Because it is what it is. Exaction Squad got 2 buffs, relatively small. G, do you want to take us through those?
Absolutely. So you have the Terminal Decree strategic ploy. So each time a friendly Exaction Squad operative makes a shooting attack against an enemy operative within 2 circle 4 inches of it, or each time a friendly Exaction Squad gunner operative makes a shooting attack regardless of the distance. So that just adds this little extra thing to it. So let me pull this up regardless of distance, just so we can kind of get the context.
I believe it's saying that you get to reroll 1 dice in shooting. Essentially.
Yes, which is fine because I mean now your gunners can do it, which is cool. Yeah,
outside of 4 inches, it is a small buff, but any kind of rerolls is a reroll, and it could make things hurt just a tad bit more. So,
yeah. And I mean your gunner was probably just shooting
grenade launcher,
Weber, so yeah,
Weber or. That's about it.
Yeah, so rerolling the grenade launcher is nothing to joke about, Like Kasserkin, the grenade launcher is like an MVP. You'd think it'd be the plasma. No, the grenade launcher is doing work. He kills one dude, or he can blast a bunch of dudes. Like MVPs are grenade launchers.
Is it just one gunner?
I think with this team you can take.
Or is it up to 3?
2.
2?
Yeah. So again, you're probably just going to take the grenade launcher.
Yeah, you're not going to take the Weber. The Weber's already within 6, so I guess if you get which is essentially a flamer. If you get like a max range, you get a reroll 1 dice, which is relatively strong for a flamer,
Yeah, especially because it's a flamer that's not hitting on a 2.
Yeah, that's weird.
But it has lethal 5. So you can get the stun off more often.
That's true.
And the heavy stubber is just a better bolter, I guess.
It's just a trap.
It has ceaseless, but like when I look at the heavy stubber, I think like the Kasserkin have pretty much the same weapon.
He's going to shoot P1. Once and then die.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's for this option, like take the grenade launcher and I guess take the Weber. If you had to pick the 2, maybe the heavy stubber comes in like. Sometimes I would just take the grenade launcher and then do other dudes.
It doesn't even have AP, dude.
Exactly. It's kind of like...
and their grenade launcher doesn't have blast. It just has an AP1.
Yeah. So like...
it's like a crack only. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a buff. It's a buff. Is it going to make them S tier? No. All right. What about the second one, G?
That was the dispense justice. Yeah. You can reroll any of all your attacks. Instead of one result, which is nice. So
they got the Wormblade treatment.
They got the worm. In fact, a lot of armies are getting, or teams are getting this treatment, which is good.
Is it though?
Because it's a little more swingy. Because you might just get like, oh, I only can reroll this 1 dice, or okay, I guess I can reroll
Wormblade
this
enough to be like, oh, he rolled 3 2s, and then he rolled them all on the crits, and then I died.
Or something.
I don't like it. I think they could do different things rather than just giving every team reroll city. It's frustrating that we're not seeing like, why not give them 4/6 damage? Like that wouldn't break the team on the batons.
I'm okay. I'm okay with the reroll of all 1 result as opposed to reroll everything. Because if the chances of you rolling 1 number are obviously more often, right? We know that.
But why not just make it like 1s? Give them balanced
because that's a rule already, right? So this gives them just slightly better, but not quite enough to be reroll all dice. So if you got like a 1, 2, and 3, you can't reroll them all. You only can pick 1, But if you get like 1, 3, and 3, you could be like, I'd reroll the 3s.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's a weird balancing act of trying to be better, but not too good where you reroll everything, because then that's insanely better.
Yeah, but you could just give them balanced, or you could give them ceaseless, so they reroll ones, or they get to reroll one dice, you know, rather than like rerolling all of one result. I just think it's like a really strong thing, and I don't like how we're seeing it in so many teams.
I mean,
this rule is popping up in so many teams. I think it's bad. I
think it's okay, because like you mentioned, just rerolling
they have to remove it. In order to make Wormblade into a decent place, they have to remove that. Like, it's too strong.
Like with Wormblade, you're right. It's absolutely too strong, but that's because it has so much of it. This is only the ploy. Like, it's not every guy has it, where like Wormblade, that's kind of one of their innate abilities.
Oh, it's just, yeah, you're right. It is a ploy. You're right.
Yeah, because if it was the whole thing, then absolutely this would be a problem. It'd be the Wormblade problem, the Brood Brothers problem, like where you innately get this so often. This is like maybe at most you're going to get to do this is 4 times in a game. And you might not do that. So like,
no,
it's not as bad.
You're right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Once you start paying for it, it's okay. If otherwise,
I would agree. Once you start paying for it with your limited resource pool, it is definitely better. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm okay with this change. It's not too strong. It makes them a buff enough, but they're probably still not winning. I think they should be guys that stop rerolls with the.
I think their batons should do 4-6 damage.
If their batons can do 4-6 damage, Casterkin should have 4-6
damage as well.
Should have 4 attacks at least, not 3 attacks in melee. What kind of elites are those? Like elite troopers?
Yeah, why not? You know
what the hell?
So Hearthkin got 2 changes. G, you want to take us through these? I'll go over Felgor.
Absolutely.
Hearthkins are your homies. We'll see if these actually make the team good.
Yes, so they got Secure Salvage. What a name. I'm a friendly Hearthkin salvager. Remember, they are part of the Hearthkin, not the Hernkin, which are the other ones. Operative fights in combat. If it's within 2 of an objective marker in the resolved successful hit steps of combat, you can subtract 1 from the damage inflicted on it from one of your opponent's successful hits to a minimum of 3. This is cool because they have 8 wounds. So if you're doing, 4-6 damage, let's say, or something, if you have a weapon that does that for some reason, now it's only doing 3-5 damage, you know? You brought it back down, and that could just make you live a little bit longer, especially if you have a plasma blade to hit them back. I
mean, it could, but they also could just crit hit you and you die.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But let's say
also,
they're playing against Casterkin with 3 attacks.
It's just melee on an objective marker.
Yeah, and
this, I think they're kind of going in the right direction. Like, where does this team start to die from? And it's more from melee.
Because their melee is kind of whatever, unless you're equipping them with the blade.
Yeah, but why not just make this more relative and be like, hey, maybe it's the first fight activation of any turning point, right? Why does it have to be on an objective? At least with my suggestion, it's going to happen once per turn or once every 3 turns. Maybe not turning point 1, but turning point 2 and turning point 3. But this really only helps them in their fight against Felgor. It helps them against a few other things, but still mathematically, they still can die in 2 hits, even with this minus.
That's true. You're right.
Especially into scouts or some other stuff. It just doesn't matter. Right.
Yeah. It's probably not saving them too much because you're as the team, you're probably going to go get objectives, right?
It's a situational buff is what it is.
Yeah. And if you're playing loot, this helps you a little more to just be alive for maybe the other turn. And then, because they have their ploy worth it, where if they die on the point, they can take the point and do the action. So this just kind of helps them. You're already going to start playing on the points anyways. So this is just a bonus.
Yeah. But I do believe Worth It has somebody asked me a question about the dozer. If the dozer was going to die, could the dozer knock somebody off and then do, and then take the point afterwards? There's there's a couple questions around some of how things are done in melee now with Hearthkin.
That's weird. Could it do it? Because worth it is once
the way I was reading it, the way that they ruled Void Dancers. I don't remember the exact iteration or the question, but essentially, the way I ruled it was when the dozer. So essentially, like when the dozer dies, he gets to make one extra fight, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, that extra fight, could he knock somebody off and then use a worthy or whatever it's called, worth it to take the point and then do this or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I believe the way I was reading it, what was it? I don't remember the exact. So this is like not useful, but essentially I said no, because Void Dancers, they can't fall back when they kill somebody. And that was already clarified in the FAQ, even though it says immediately in their thing. So that means death happens before the immediately keyword. Gotcha. So like death would happen, then you would like fight somebody, and then you couldn't use whatever else it was to make them do whatever it was. I'd have to look back into it and find the Discord chat for the question. All right. Well, regardless, I still think it's good. It's better than nothing. And if you're playing the objectives for objective games, because I think this team does well with security, you can kind of like do that, and it helps you live in the middle a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. And now the Thayan, this is a pretty good one. They have essentially a Justice Scratch for damage of 4 or more. And this is for whether you get shot or hit in melee. The force field's nice. So the first time an attack dice inflicts 4 or more damage on this operative during the battle, ignore the inflicted damage. Which is important. Good. That's good. It is. And it's important to know with secure salvage, you can subtract 1 from the damage. So if they're hitting you with a 4 damage hit or something, you can use your force field and not have to choose to make it to 3. So you could get rid of one of the attacks. And the Thayan is pretty good in melee. So this is good. And I like this one. Yeah. It makes them hardy. They're more of a hardy team, like to just kind of like hit and sit around. But, I like it. It's a good change. So Thane, I think it's a really good thing. I still think that the force field, no matter what, the model's probably... If you fight somebody who's doing 3 damage, like this is like the one time Reavers are better than the Scouts, right? Like if they do 3 normal hits, the model still dies. And they get 5 dice. So let's not forget that Reavers do get 5 dice. Math is the amount of dice you roll is actually very important in close combat. So like them getting 5 dice is still very strong. We may meme on like strength of some stuff, but he still could die in three hits, right? You could just like not do your critical first. So, I think it's a strong buff for the Thayan, overall. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But the question, I found it. If a Hearthkin Dozer Blade uses his Brawl ability to incapacitate an enemy, is there a window of opportunity where the enemy model has been removed that allows the Dozer to use the tactical ploy Worth It to secure an objective before being removed themselves? If the Dozer was able to stun their target and apply a -1 AP modifier with a Brawler Strike, could they secure the objective using the Worth It tactical ploy before being removed from the kill zone? And I think, and this was from Mike Cortez, his TO questionnaire for up-to-date questions with Kill Team. And I said no, because incapacitation happens before the Dozer's final strike. So a Worth It must be done when the model is incapacitated. Gotcha. So essentially Worth It says that it has to be done when it's incapacitated, which if he's using his last strike while incapacitated to give somebody -1 or to knock somebody off an objective or something like that, or to kill a model or some shit, right? Then the incapacitation effect has already happened. So he can no longer use a Worth It because this would be after. So if we think about it in like Magic the Gathering terms, there are stacks, and you would be trying to activate something after the incapacitation has happened, and that's on top of the stack. Right. So, yeah. Okay, there we go.
Easy.
Yeah, well, kind of. If you guys disagree with me, make sure you tell us in our Discord. Please. Felgor, they've finally been frenzied by Games Workshop. Congratulations. It only took a full year. A full year. Let's say it again. A full year. The Flux Spray, the Mangler, and the Vandal replace all instances of Relentless with Ceaseless. This just makes their tactical ploy where they get to reroll all dice useful, right? I think I was talking to Orion, and he said that typically you never use that tactical ploy because all of your dudes have Relentless anyways. So if you roll poorly enough to make it so that your models that you need to reroll everything, right? Or you only hit once, so you want to reroll everything. Now that tactical ploy actually has use. So rather than just ones, because what if you roll like 3 2s or something? So in the end, this is a relatively large nerf. This is the thing that probably hurts the team the most, but they still have a ploy that can still situationally make those models still good.
Yeah, and remember how we were explaining, like, would you rather reroll all your dice or just reroll like ones, which one's stronger? So going to Ceaseless does bring their power level down. Of course, they have the ploy. But if you're not using the ploy, because there's only so much opportunity cost you have, then, this is a good way to bring them down. Maybe...
I think it really hurts the Mangler, and it also hurts their CP because they love to use a lot of CP all at once.
In one shot, exactly. So
they'll use like 4 CP in a round, right?
Exactly.
The Mangler now, I believe he hits on 4s. Let me double check and make sure I'm not wrong. So that means when he's injured, he would hit on 5s, right? So like if he's frenzied, he'd be then hitting on 5s. He's there, and so ultimately, Relentless is basically like, he hits on 4s, and when he's frenzied, he hits on 5s. So when he's frenzied, you might, gosh, that would suck if you got like a 5 and a 6 and you'd missed 2. Like, it would be really difficult. So I still think this is a relatively their largest nerf that they've received because some of them are so strong, right? With the Relentless, it just makes them better because they don't have to use a CP to re-roll dice. So that is the thing. The Gnarl Scar and the Mangler got -1 wound. So for some reason, the Mangler and the Gnarl Scar had 11 wounds.
Yep.
Don't know why.
Just made him stronger. Bringing him back to 10, I think, is okay.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, your team has 4-6 damage or something, then I don't know what you're going to do. But, but otherwise, bringing them to 10 is fine, right? Like, 11 is reserved for heroes, sergeants.
Why did the Gnarl Scar and the Mangler have the same amount of wounds as their leader did?
Right. Like, what was the reason? Because I think at 11, sure, that is probably a big number that changes a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like they didn't really need that to begin with.
I would agree. I think this is like them more cleaning house and making sure putting things in line. Cause like you look at the blooded before, right? They kind of like put everything kind of like the same. All big models are kind of monsters. These guys should all have the same wounds as their normal peoples. It seems more of like an administrative touch, than anything else.
Bringing things in line. That's fine.
Yeah. And then a Reckless Determination, strategic ploy. Each time the shooting attack's made against a Felgor operative that is not ready and or in cover. What does it do? I don't remember.
So until the end of the turning point, each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Felgor Ravager operative that is not ready and is not in cover, in the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, before rolling your defense dice, you can retain one as a successful normal save without rolling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like the immortal.
They're in
robot.
cover if they've already activated.
Yeah, cool. Immortal androids or something from Hierotech Circle. They have like a similar thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you could just be in the open, which is good for like a melee team that it's like, oh shit, I'm about to get shot here, and I'm just gonna eat it all.
Yeah, this is still a useful with the nerf. It's still a useful strategic ploy. So
yeah, because if anything, this is actually a bit of a buff now too.
Is it? What did it used to be?
Because remember, this is not ready. So before you'd have to be, you haven't activated yet. So now you can at least kind of like push a little forward and not be in cover to be like a little more aggressive, and you can still retain a dice.
Yeah. I mean, if you have to be in that situation, right, it's probably better to have this strategic ploy around. Exactly.
So like at least I can go forward and not just be like, oh, I can only do that when I'm in cover, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's better to be able to go forward as a melee team.
Absolutely. So then we'll get to scouts. That's the hot topic, the hot button topic. But before we get to them, mandrakes received nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure. Nemesis Claw received nothing. Go figure.
Did they need
Brood Brothers, Nemesis Claw? Probably.
Really? Not mandrakes?
I think mandrakes did definitely. 100%. The problem with mandrakes is they have a very low skill ceiling and a very high skill ceiling, while Nemesis Claw are really good and
fairly easy to pilot. But the skill ceiling can be high because they're elite, so you have to know them. I think.
I don't think Nemesis Claw really deserve a nerf. I would just like to see all other elites get raised to their level. Seeing Legionary and Intercession just sit there and get screwed over, is relatively sad.
kind of rot. Because there's not a lot of elite teams if you think about it. There's 4, right?
Yeah,
I think Hyrotech is one too, but people don't agree with me. So there's only 4: Phobos, Intercession, Nemesis Claw, and Legionnaires.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, I think Nemesis Claw, maybe their ability to skip a turn can only be done once per turn, instead of I can skip my turn all equal to whatever prescience points I have in activations, right?
Yeah. And then we have the Brood Brothers and their counterparts.
The Jaegers.
The Jaegers got nothing as well. There's not a lot of information on them, but I think Brood Brothers are pretty fucking strong right now, and it's frustrating to see how good they are as a shooting horde compared to other teams. They should be more brought in line with other shooting teams, but it is what it is. Moving on to Scout Squad. +1 operative. This is the one thing that we said that we actually got right in our ones.
Ooh, so
yeah.
That's the best nerf ever. Best buff ever. They didn't get anything else, right? That was it.
Oh, I think Games Workshop was like, that's not enough. What is another basic way that we can fundamentally change and buff the team? Let's make hunters and warrior operatives add 1 to both damage characteristics of their combat blade. So now their combat blades do 4-6 damage.
Wow. You're telling me.
Reavers combat blades do 3-5 damage, which is their upgraded counterpart. Now here's the fun
4-5 for the Reavers, 3-5 for the combat blade on the what do you call him? The veteran.
Okay.
Yes.
So here's the thing. In narrative, you're allowed to take a scout and upgrade him eventually to an intercession model, which is all right, cool, that's dope. Or you can upgrade him to their worst counterparts, the Reavers. They get 2 extra wounds, 1 extra attack, less damage. And I guess they get +1 to saves. I mean, I don't know. I think I might rather have the combat blade doing 4-6 damage, 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, for fuck's sake. Give every single, I've seen a lot of people say oh, you just take 9. This is the new Felgor team. You just take 9 normal dudes with combat warriors or 8 normal guys. You take the hunter and then you take the leader. Problem is when you do that, the enemies get to start all on engage, right? So while that may be good into Felgor, you still may want to take the heavy bolter and the tracker, or the sniper at times. I don't know if the key is to go all combat blades or to take all combat blades in 1 shotgun, right?
I mean, if I was going to do that, I think I'd rather just do the sergeant, the 2 gunners, the sniper, and then go blades to the wall.
Yeah, so 6 blades for you?
6 blades for me. Technically 7 if you want to count the sergeant as another melee operative.
Yeah.
And then three guns kind of like supporting you, especially because what can scouts do? They scout better. So just move. I
will make a recommendation for one shotgunner.
I could live with one shotgun because
the reason why is when you're going into elites, sometimes when you go in, they can still kill your model if you roll poorly, right? But if you activate your shotgun guy first, move up, blast the dude and do some damage, and then you move in with a combat blade, you're 100% going to kill that guy and might not even take any damage back. So sometimes it can be good still to take a shotgun rather than these crazy ass combat blades. But I don't think that you take more than 1 or 2 maximum shotguns. Period.
Yeah, and don't forget with their combat blades, they have the ploy where you can get, I think it was a reroll with blade ambush.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm sorry, they get rending.
Also, my guy, what is so good about their equipment, the scouts?
They got climbing ropes for days. That's a big one.
They also have extra blades. So now they can make these combat blades into balanced combat blades. So now they're hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s. Or re-rolling a 1.
So it just makes them like the likelihood of you doing the mortal wounds and stuff is higher. And again, if with the hunter who just has to do like a traverse, his critical
climb, a traverse, whatever. Yeah.
It's pretty gnarly how strong this team is, and they're 10 wound models with 10 bodies. Mm-hmm. Like orcs are salivating to be this guy, So
I saw a game between 2 players, one playing Nemesis Claw, one playing Scouts, and it ended up with a tie, I think. Yeah, with a tie. But the heavy bolter with blade ambush and everything like that killed 5 of the Nemesis Claw. 4 of the Nemesis Claw. 4 of them. The blades only killed 1.
Could you see this team, all the regular non-sergeant characters go to 9 wounds and the sergeant stay at 12 because he's technically a Marine who's just teaching the scouts?
Yeah.
Because then I think if you're at 9 and not 10, those numbers kind of sway a bit.
Well, why is it 4/6 damage? It changes the math so much. Why not make everything 4/5? Or in any
4/5 is rough, man.
Any other operative. Here's the thing. This is the thing that I'm talking about. Bad buffs, right? Like, why make scouts the new melee horde?
Because we're not selling enough scout boxes.
You're not wrong.
There you go. Marine players who play 40K, a handful are buying scouts. But, I've for the longest time at our stores, I have seen scouts rot on the shelves right next to striking scorpions. No one was buying them.
Well, they're probably
and
also
now
not
I have seen them starting to go. I'm seeing less and less. And it's only been a few days, which maybe this has inspired people to just play scouts. Or
I'm not going to lie, it inspired me to start a scouts team.
Yeah, I'm looking at this team going like, damn.
So what
this
I'm
could
going
be
to
really cool. I mean, Rob is like the OG now, right? Rob and other players who've been playing scouts when they came out, and we're just kind of like whatever.
Mm-hmm. So my scouts team, I want to remake all of my action heroes as scouts, and I just want to take all combat blades and just charge people and fight them and be like, Rambo literally can just kill you now. Like, it's not like, he's just a little human. It's like, no, this dude's like a fucking Giga Chad.
There you go.
Giga Gibson,
Giga Gibson.
Giga Stallone,
I like that. Like, I think that'd be pretty fun. But yeah, no, not being so negative. I think the buff of getting the extra guy was fine. They may have overtuned it with the blade. I guess we'll see, but a lot of people are saying it's the way to go.
I think
4/6 is strong.
I think narratively, this is like the worst buff I have ever seen. But I at least like this buff in the fact that it really makes people start to think about the game and want to change a few things, and is at least tempting people to go to this team, right? Like we've seen other buffs like this in the past. It's really interesting to see how this team is now going to perform.
Right. Are people going to do all blades, or are they going to take your advice, maybe take a few shotguns, to help wither them down, and then come with the blades?
It might change via things. I actually still think this team is going to be actually kind of hard to still play at times. I think this team's skill ceiling has gone out the roof. I think their skill ceiling is like S+, but I see a general player now taking this team to like an A tier, like A tier, A+ tier.
Yeah.
The team was already good, but scouts have a really interesting play style. And this changes their play style, which is fascinating.
Because they're not just turn 0 now.
So we had a really good scouts player in California, Austin. And the thing that scouts do really well, what do scouts do really well? They do turning point 1 amazingly. If you scout and use your scouting abilities correctly, and then you're able to like flip a person to an engage that they didn't think to because of your trigger wire and all that kind of stuff. You can hit them with a relatively large missile launcher. You can shoot them with all sorts of stuff. This one makes it now so that you can just push up all of your models, and on turning point 2, you can just charge things and fucking kill everything. Like it's disgusting. There are some disgusting play things that you can do with this team if you play them really aggressively. And I think that that's what scouts kind of do best. If you can play in a reserved manner, but still be really aggressive turning point 1 and turning point 2, that's really good. The other thing that this team was really bad at was turning point 3 and turning point 4, because they would just lose so many models. Now that they have an additional operative, if you don't lose an operative on turning point 1, this team can be, I think I monikered them now, Super Scouts.
The Super Scouts.
Super Scouts. Give them little capes, little red capes.
Dang.
Shave off the Aquila and put little S's on their chest.
S's on there. I mean, dude, they're so strong on paper, but from what you've told us, it sounds like they're also strong in plastic.
They are strong in plastic, but I still think they struggle into certain teams. They can into really shooting teams like Wormblade, Vetguard,
Casterkin, anyone who has like damage Blooded, that can just rip someone up and do 10
Pathfinders, anything that has a lot of AP. If the models have enough movement and AP, they can still get those crazy shots. And once you start losing operatives, you start losing operatives. But the hard thing is that this team can strike back so hard. Oh, you have a leader? Cool. I'm just going to charge your leader and stab him a couple times and he's dead. Like the team is still really, really strong. It's like, I'm excited to see where this team goes. I'm probably more positive on this now than I was on day one. Day one, I was like yelling and ranting and raving about it. I like the fact that they're at least changing up the meta somewhat. I would really have loved to see like Kill Team just go, the rumors are true and they're going to an next edition. Just have fun in this last data slate. Instead, it's more of a phone home. And this was the only fun buff that we got. So
yeah, this is the big one. I would say Hearthkin was pretty good too. The Thayan change anyways.
The Thayan change is pretty cool.
But yeah, this was the standout one at the very last page. I was surprised with +1 operative. That was perfect. And then they hit you in the nuts with this and you're like, here's more. Cool. Fuck it. Yeah. Whatever.
Their math is fucking crazy though. Like they just shit on elf teams. Like they do so much damage and they can kill, like they can 2-tap Nemesis Claw.
Exactly. So like
it's crazy. They can. That's the main thing. They can.
Not that they will, but they can.
Exactly.
Like it's one player out there. One guy's going to figure it out and go like, I know how to make this come in my favor almost every time.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see him. Especially the hunter who might be the most deadly operative we've ever seen. Traverse charging, lethal threes, 4/6 damage.
That could be interesting when people place barricades. Maybe they're not playing it to be defensive, but more to be aggressive because they want their hunter to jump over and get the free lethals.
Mm-hmm. And the team can also infiltrate. So if they do that, then and they took infiltrate, they could also be like, "Cool, I did that, and I score siege defenses or whatever it's called."
Yeah, right. Like they could have all those secret tricks that you're not expecting. It makes for the most theory crafting team right now. Because no one was really playing them, like we mentioned before. Like there's a handful, and there was kind of an idea how you did it. Now with this new stuff, there's all sorts of ways to kind of play this team now. Mm-hmm. Are you making it strong turn 3? Are you trying to still play the turn 0? What are you doing? They were such an underly played team too. There's not a lot of just thought process that people have developed around the team. It's going to be interesting to see. Because what if this team is just like they're just like Superman on the table? It could be. They could also just be actually not that good, because what if it's just, once again, a buff in the wrong direction? Right. We don't know. I think the one operative definitely helps them outside of Turning Point 1, though. Yeah, and from a squad perspective, who's taking a sergeant and 8-man squads? No, you take squads of 10. Anyone who's played Warhammer is you take squads of 10 or increments of 5. Yeah. Increments of 5. I had to adjust my whole life to go 6 elites. I guess I can feel that, but I draw the 9 elites or 9 Marines. That was weird for me. I don't know what to do with myself. Mm-hmm. Don't blame you. Well, yeah. I think that's going to be it for us today. Sure is. G, is there anything that you wanted to shout out? Of course, you can join the conversation on our Discord. The link is in the description. You can click that. You can share this with somebody if you think they'll benefit from it. And feel free to give us a rating. That always helps us out as well. And if you want to help us in a more personal way, we do have a Patreon. We always appreciate Patreon members. They help us do a lot of stuff for the rest of the community. To run these events, to make these podcasts, to make these episodes for things on YouTube, such as the Balance Dataslate, that'll be coming out. It will be released already now at the time you're hearing this. So you could check that out. The link will also be in the description for the YouTube channel. And you catch the Hobby Highlanders on there. That's always fun to watch, see different paints. What's good, what's bad, what we're wrong about, what we're right about. Mm-hmm. And finally, you can find me on Instagram at wargaming_studios. I'm getting closer to finishing those Nemesis claws. And how about you? I would like to shout out Tabletop Mayhem. She's coming. That is Saya, my wife, one of the 3 members of Squad Games. She has her own YouTube channel. She's putting a lot of D&D content. So her very first video that she released was 5 tips for new DMs. And then there's another video she's coming out with for Shark Week. It has to do with, I think it's called Kraken Week for D&D or something like that. And it's D&D tips for DMs playing in a Waterworld campaign setting. So if you guys want to go out and give her, if you like D&D, give her videos a watch, give it a thumbs up, give it a comment. Also, we should be having some more Hobby Highlanders coming out. We do film 3 more episodes on June 7th. So that should be fun. Looking forward to, a lot more fun stuff for Kill Team. Looking out for a lot of cool guests that we're going to be having on here soon. And I just want to thank everyone who listens to the podcast regularly. And we can all remember, this is just Games Workshop's world, and we just live in it. The simulation is plastic. It sure is. The air is paint. Until next time, guys, avoid IHOP. Unless you got a coupon or something. I don't know. Unless it's your birthday, because you might get a meal for free. You get the birthday pancake stack or whatever. Yeah, whatever that is. Surprise, everyone. Turns out the podcast isn't over. We have Jimmy on right now to talk about a very cool tournament coming up at the end of this month, ran by Kill Team themselves in San Diego. Something with bigger consequences.
that is practice for Team America going to Belgium. Jimmy, you want to tell us a little bit about that tournament?
Absolutely. So have you talked much about the tournament coming up? I feel like a lot of people don't even know what the international team tournament is or have heard about it.
I've only talked about it a tad on the podcast.
Okay. So Games Workshop is putting together a large international team tournament, and it's all based on your country. So every country is putting forward their best 5 players. A couple countries are getting 2 teams, but they're teams of 5 players, and we're meeting in Belgium to see which country is the best, basically. So it's a source of patriotic pride that the U.S. wants to show up and give our best showing. Because I don't know if you are aware of this. A lot of the viewers may not be aware, or listeners. Anyways, America not looked at great in the eyes of the world. There's a lot of trash talk from other countries about how we are not awesome. So,
yeah, I think we got 3rd overall at Worlds. I think overall, and I think we took like 4th and 5th in the main tournament at the World Championship. Not saying that America doesn't have the largest kill team tournament in the world, which is LVO.
It is. Yeah. Not that we have the number 1 player on ITC points. I think America has some amazing talent. I think SoCal specifically has some amazing talent. Not just, that's not me being biased. There's a lot of people here. SoCal has some amazing players. The US has incredible players. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are amazing that aren't going to be able to make the tournament. But we have a great team representing Team USA, and we want to show up and take on the best teams across the world. It's an interesting team format. So 5 players per team. There's going to be 2 Into the Dark, 3 open boards, and they have kind of a unique pairing where you go back and forth. I don't know how much we want to get into specifics of how it's going to work, but I'm really looking forward to it. So all of Team USA is coming into San Diego end of the month. We're going to practice together, prep for this event.
Tuna say who's on the team?
I guess we should, right? So I referenced number 1 ITC in the world, Adrian, and he's on the team. Our very own Chris Bakke, who is another regular of the podcast and just a monster player. He put the team together. This is his team. So he grabbed the reins. He's running it. We just live graciously in his shadow, and he has an amazing mind for strategy and all that. He's put the team together. So his team, he got Adrian. I'm on it. Another member of Bakke's kill team group, Sam, who is here in San Diego. Not currently, but he goes to school here, and he goes to a lot of the local events. So the people that play in the events have probably seen or played against him. So Sam's on the team. And then my teammate, Kellen, the co-founder of Kel Team. He's going to be on the team as well. So we've got a lot of California talent. Then we brought in Adrian, the big guns. And the 5 of us are going to be coming together as a team representing USA and hoping to show that we've got what it takes on the international scene.
Yeah, your team selection seems pretty interesting. But what you want to take us through the tournament that you're running?
Absolutely. So we're all coming in to San Diego, the whole team, end of July. We're going to practice, try to prep for it. And the last day we're all together is July 27th. So we're going to hold a tournament that day. We want to try to get as many people as we can from the local scene. People just want to have fun, be part of it. Players that really want to push the limits and really give us a challenge. So if you're sweaty, if you're just for fun and you love to paint your models and just enjoy the group, if you want to see, the players, whatever, we want people to show up and be part of it. And we are going to be running a very unique tournament. You helped give us the ideas that crafted this, but I'm really excited about it. So July 27th, we're all together. We're going to have a tournament. It's going to be in East County, San Diego. And what we're going to do is try to actually recreate the setup for the tournament we're going to go to. So it's going to be a little weird, but I think it's going to be understandable. So what we're going to do, we're trying to limit it to just over 30 people total for the tournament. And hopefully we have a good showing. But each round, we're going to do 4 rounds, start at 9:30 in the morning. Each round, we're going to have a nominated team captain to represent Team Challenger to oppose Team USA. That player, that captain, is going to pick 4 people from the tournament that show up to put together their team to take us on. And then we're going to go through the pairings just like we would at the tournament. We'll have 2 into the dark, 3 open, and we'll use the terrain and the layouts that we're going to see at in Belgium. And we're going to go through the pairings. All 5 Team USA players are going to pair against all 5 challengers, and then we're going to go through the match. Everyone else is going to have almost like a side tournament. So they're going to be playing. We're still doing 4 rounds. And we do that over again with all 4 players. No one in the general pool can be selected to be on a team challenger more than twice. We want to make sure we get as many people through to play as many games as possible. And if you pair against Team USA and you beat a Team USA member, you're going to earn the jersey off their back. So Baki and Adrian helped design some really awesome jerseys that we're taking with us. So you'll actually get the Team USA jersey with the player's name that you beat if you win that match. So we're doing things a little different. We're not going to have an actual normal prize like first, second, third. We're going to have door prizes for people that come. We're having food and drink. So we're going to have food there. We're going to have beverages. I might include alcohol. I'm not positive. Maybe I'm not supposed to say that. Is that Dakotah? You run events. Is it bad to say you can include alcohol at the event?
It depends on your county. It's all city codes and county codes.
Okay, then from this point forward, this tournament will be in Tijuana. For the purposes of advertisement, this is a Tijuana tournament, just held maybe within the U.S. Anyways, maybe we'll have alcohol. If you've been to events where I'm at, you know this is kind of a thing I do. So it'll be a great event. We'll make sure we have stuff. You'll get stuff just for showing up. And then if you pair and play against Team USA, if you win your match, you get a jersey. And for all the people that don't ever face Team USA, whoever has the best record at the end of the day, whoever is like number 1, also will win a jersey. So if you show up and you can't get paired into Team USA, if you still do great in the tournament, you're still going to get a world trophy to take away to show that you helped make Team USA better. Did I describe that well? How do you think that
I think you described it pretty well. So essentially you show up to help Team America and you can win a jersey off their backs. And then when you go to a future tournament, you can wear that jersey just to fully intimidate them. Amazing.
Absolutely. Also, if you win someone's jersey, I'm going to throw this out there. You could pretend to be them and then just behave horrendously and give that player a terrible name in the community. I don't know what you could do to make me look worse because I think I do enough of that myself. But just saying, you could show up and be like, hey, I played that Kellen guy. He flipped me off like 10 times. What a monster. So show up, take the jersey. You basically become us. And you get to run amok. So, but yeah.
Sounds like it's going to be a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to going down and being able to compete and have some fun playing with peoples, So hopefully everyone else feels that way too. It's going to be what is the date, Jimmy? One more time.
July 27th, the last Saturday of this month. And that's right. You're going to be part of the event. You're actually helping us put it together, but you are going to be playing. We have Robert is going to be our TO. Robert hasn't been involved in the community lately, but he's been in a lot. Most people locally know and have played with Robert. He's a great guy. So he's going to be the official TO. You're going to be playing. So I feel like a lot of people have seen you organize events. But a lot of people locally actually haven't had a good chance to play against you. They don't know that you're actually a good player too. Or maybe they do know, but they haven't seen it.
Yeah, typically the only time that I actually get to play Kill Team is at tournaments. I don't really have a social Kill Team life, I should say.
Yeah.
Usually if I want to play socially, I'm going to turn on the stream and play on stream because, I have to choose between content, family, work, and gaming. And gaming, unfortunately, comes last. So,
isn't that the way it goes?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone would rather me continue to make content rather than being like, hey guys, I think me and Giacomo are going to meet up to play a Kill Team game this week and not make a podcast show.
That's so fun. And I obviously I love your stuff, and I feel like I'm the only person who's constantly pushing you to be like, hey, maybe just play more. Like you should show up and just enter this tournament. I'm always pushing for that, but you got to give the people what they want.
And unfortunately, I think I have to travel super, super far usually to actually compete or play in anything. Like I would have to travel to Tacoma if I was going to go to Tacoma and play. So, yeah.
So it gets tough. The problem is all the best tournaments here, you're running. So, but maybe you can get a fake mustache and just join a tournament that you're running. Yeah, we'll call you Cody, and then you'll be like, man, this Cody guy really knows his vet guard. Man, wow, like this guy is just talented.
Yeah, I can't wait to show off how fucking bad vet guard actually are. If anyone watches our MetaWatch show, which does come out tomorrow from us recording this small bit, and yesterday, everyone will see Games Workshop hates veteran guardsmen, and they're trying to burn them at the stake. And yeah, I mean the stats prove it themselves. But hey, we're not going to sit here and let them burn my faction to the ground. I will make sure they don't get a buff if I'm ever if I can play the game.
Okay. Well, I mean, you guys, Vetguard did get about almost 2 years completely untouched.
Correct.
When they were just one of the best. They showed up to every event, and
they were never one of the best until the data slate maybe the 2 data slates that they got put into the ground, but they've never been the best. Maybe at LVO that January, maybe the first few 6 months or so until Pathfinders came out, which was right.
Okay.
Actually, it was right around then.
Well, let me say this. You're right. I don't think they were ever the best ever, but the entire time when they went with no nerfs, I feel they were always capable to take down any tournament. They had the tools. They could beat anyone. Correct.
I would agree. I would definitely agree. Unfortunately, that's just been replaced by Mandrakes and Brood Brothers. So
maybe
it's not like if they just would have kept the team there, they would have struggled.
No,
into the new meta. Yeah,
that's true. But you know what's so fun right now with the big meta shift and swing? There's so much discussion of who is the best, and like you have your. I'm sure I wasn't part of this. You had your discussion about the balance. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are in contention. I disagree with some of the big takes on who's the best or who's broken or whatever else. But we're going to find out. There's a whole bunch of teams that could be really great right now. I remember after the last balance, a lot of people thought, man, Warp Coven are going to be monsters. And they're better, but they just don't have what it takes. Even with those huge buffs, they've shown you don't see them just taking down tournaments.
Nope, Warp Coven definitely fell off the planet of the Earth.
They sure did. But now it's going to be fun. We have this whole new balance thing. Tacoma's coming up, and then we got our tournament. So, if you have one of these teams that is potentially great, do you play Hearthkin? Man, Hearthkin could be amazing right now.
That's still a 5-inch move. You're still not good.
You know what? Don't make me feel bad, Dakotah. Let me have, hey, if you play Hearthkin and you want to show Dakotah that he's a moron, you should show up on July 27th. Bring your team.
There's multiple people that have tried to prove me wrong. I'm just saying, there's multiple people that have tried.
So you hear how defensive Dakotah is. I hope you as a listener hear his fear. Is like he is just terrified of someone showing up and showing how great those little dwarfy, stocky, tanky boys can do. So if that's you, I want to see you on July 27th. If you play Exaction and you're like, you know what, those rerolls, that's all I needed. And maybe that is. Like I've been like almost every team, I feel like, man, this team really might have what it takes to beat some of the best, teams out there now. A lot of these buffs I really like. And so, yeah, if locally we have Alexander Popov. He's been playing the S tier Exaction squad lately. Have we ever? It's so fantastic. So we have a running joke, or you have a running joke, and I'm just aware of it. With Kellen calling Exaction squad S tier. So
correct. He jumped on our singular hot takes episode that we've done so far, and he said that it was that Exaction was S tier, and we wanted him to tell us why. And they haven't been S tier since.
He has never lived that comment down. And Alexander Popov, so wonderfully, he built and painted a wonderful Exaction squad team. He's a great artist, a great player. And then he put him in a box that he labeled S tier. And it is just chef's kiss, the best slam on Kellen. It's wonderful. So he had to bring it to him and show him at one of the events. It was wonderful. So, but yeah, like if you love Exaction Squad, bring that team. I think it's gonna be a great, like the next month or so is gonna be a great proving ground to find out where it really lies. Because I remember last time everyone was like, oh man, Warp Coven, they're gonna be just stomping people. And I really didn't see it. I was like, there's so many things that can go wrong with that team. It's so hard to run. I don't think anyone's gonna be able to still consistently win with them at top levels, winning tournaments with that team. So let's find out. We have all of our thoughts. We got to actually hammer out and see where this meta's at. So if you've got a fun team, if you play Brood Brothers, everyone thinks they're great, right? Like, I don't think there's any player that's like, oh, Brood Brothers aren't that good. What are you going to do with a whole lot of bodies and tons of rerolls and melee options and, super powerful agents like, or assets? Like everyone thinks Brood Brother is going to be stomping face. But maybe if you have one of these other teams, Wormblade Wormblade still brings it.
Yep, they sure do. The last data slate, me and Giacomo both said that Gellerpox and Wormblade were the best teams. And we were not wrong.
Absolutely.
And, they didn't get touched. So what do you guys think is still the best teams out there? Outside of some of the new teams. So,
yeah. Oh, you know what I'd love to see? If we can get James Robinson down to this tournament, have him bring his Gellerpox back.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be spicy. That guy can really do some damage with, he's a good Gellerpox player. So,
he is.
Internationally, Orion and John Reese are kind of known as like the big Gellerpox players. But man, when that team's run well, they are just vicious. So anyways, I'd love to see people show up. There's so many teams that really have a good shot at being really tough. So I'm looking forward to seeing how things roll out. And I have my thoughts, which I haven't shared publicly. So when I get proved wrong, it won't hurt me emotionally. You've taken your hard stance. So I'd love people to make you cry a little bit, not a lot, because I like you as a person, but I want to see you weep Votann tears. So
Votann tears. I've been waiting for that day. I think everyone who listens to the podcast, including, I'm pretty sure they've all been waiting for that day. They're like, one day we'll get our vengeance, and I'll be able to be written out of the book. But until that day comes, and yes, I've been beaten by them. Yes. Are they good? Absolutely. Are they S tier? Fuck no. I don't care if their Thane gets a faux
just a scratch.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, hey, that was one of the teams that beat Baki at ACO. Mm-hmm. So that guy does not lose very often. He brings an intense game.
He was also playing Blades of Cain. So
okay.
He was not playing Pathfinders.
Okay. Oh, I love the caveats.
Have they upgraded out of B tier? Possibly. Are they B plus tier? Probably.
Look, also, not many people have played against Chris Baki because you normally have to face him at the top tables at the end of a tournament. But if you can beat that guy with any team, bravo. That team had to have some strength to get in there and do it. It's not an easy task to do. So if a team can do it, that's a great combination. Like you have to have a great player and a great team. So my thoughts, but there's a few, like, same thing for you. Like you're a really strong player. If someone beats you, obviously the player played well and that team had to have some strength too. So
yeah, I love when people beat me. That makes it I'm like a Saiyan. It only makes me better.
Exactly. And by the way, that is, we've talked about sportsmanship several times, and that is, I think, one of the best things about you. You genuinely get excited when someone does well and beats you, and you don't lose a lot either. You also don't play a lot, which makes me sad. But when you do play, you bring your best game, and when you lose, you're always excited for the other person. And by the way, that's also something I'm hoping we bring the energy here too. Like, I want Team USA to play well. I want us to win our matches. I don't want to give away a lot of jerseys, right? But if someone beats us
in a 4-round tournament, I'm about to take all 5 jerseys. I can only play 2 games, right? But I'm about to take all 5. Watch me.
You're just going to beat them so bad.
Yeah, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat Chris. I'm going to beat Adrian. I'm going to beat Sam, and I'm going to beat Kellen. It's going to be, and they're going to be like, "Wow, how did he play us 5 times?" Oh, I don't know. I'll be like, "Oh, the TO let me." Thanks, Robert.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, in a 4-round tournament. In a 4-round tournament.
You know what? If anyone could do it, Dakotah, I believe in you. I think it'll be you.
Yeah, I'll just use only in death, and we'll be
just outside the game. Just like, nope, I'm still going. One more activation. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that's awesome. So thank you for giving me a moment to talk about this. I'm really excited about it. And I'm hosting this tournament actually at my shop, my business location. So this is going to be, it's very personal for me. I'm hoping to be able to do more of these going forward. But I'm really looking forward to seeing the community and hopefully just having a great turnout and a great event. So if you have a chance to make it, I'm really hoping you make the time to come down and join us and give us a challenge and, share the day with us.
Yeah, Jimmy, if there's not banana bread there, I'm pretty sure people are going to say hell no.
Oh, you're right. I'm ashamed to admit I haven't even thought about who's going to make the banana bread. So I'll talk to my wife. She's going to have to make the banana bread. Maybe I can I'll recruit my mom. There we go. I'll get my mom's banana bread. So we'll have but we got should that be the prizes? Like, we'll have
a loaf of Jimmy's mom's banana bread
for end of day prizes. Best sportsman, banana bread. Someone's going to show up and win and be like, "I am allergic to bananas." Like, get out of here. If you say hell not a banana bread, you just gotta get out. So
for people that don't know, you're going to have to go back. You can watch her shorts on YouTube, or you can go back and listen to the past few episodes and hear all about the banana bread stories.
So here's the deal. I think I'll give a pass to someone who isn't aware of the running joke of Kellen and S tier. But if you don't know the banana bread joke, where have you been? You gotta,
Jimmy, usually it's under a rock, my guy.
That's probably where they are. That is a good point.
But the good news is now they're coming out of the rock. They're like, "Wait, what? I'm not under a rock. I live in a house."
I'm a big boy. I know what's going on. Yeah, this is true. But so get out from under your rock. Come join us in person, sharing the inside jokes, make fun of Kellen and his S tier choices, and win some jerseys and banana bread.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And maybe alcohol. I don't know. It's never your hot button. In fact, maybe we can get you to drink at the event with everyone.
I guess you'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. In fact, I'm going to promise it. This is a legally non-binding promise. So if there's any lawyers listening, this is not legally binding, but we are going to get Dakotah to drink with you on July 27th. Maybe.
I mean, I might be drinking water. You might not be wrong.
Don't give away the. All right. Yeah. I don't know if many people know that you do not drink.
No, I don't think a lot of people do. Yeah, I think I've only drank once, and that was at my homie's wedding. And that was I drank 2 high noons, and they hurt my stomach. And alcohol tastes like shit. I don't know why y'all do it. So hey, who knows?
Stop bringing your logic into this.
Everyone is always like, well, it's an acquired taste. You have to like drink it, and then you kind of start to like it. I'm like, yo, dude, like I tried that shit before. That shit fucking tastes ass. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like that's like, that shit does not taste good. I drink for pleasure. Okay. And that's usually like Dr. Pepper. You know? So yeah, I mean, you can put Dr. Pepper in it, and then you ruin the Dr. Pepper. You fucking crazy. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Well, Dakotah, I think you should win an award for the most fun sober person. So
yeah. Everyone's like, how can you get out there and dance so much? Are you drunk? Be like, nah, dude.
Like, nah, bro, I like dancing. Here we go. Here's my
high on life, bro. You know, fucking. I know how to waltz. I know how to tango. You know.
I think that's such a good point. I feel like most people drink because they hope one day to have the courage to live as boldly as you do in every moment.
Yeah, bro. But I got only in death. So like.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well.
Oh my gosh.
Last shout out for the pod here. To all the pizza deployment fans, shout out to you. Anyone else who doesn't believe in pizza deployment, sorry. That's it for me.
We're going to end it on mentioning the worst deployment in the game.
Well, Jimmy, I wasn't giving you a shout out, obviously.
Well, yeah, clearly. I'm right here. You're just insulting me to my face.
What are you, a fucking nacho?
Well, okay, no. I just don't mean I don't like that deployment style. I don't care what you call it.
Oh.
You can call that the banana bread deployment. I'm going to be like, now I hate it. So I don't like that deployment.
Dude, if we're just talking about that, why does everyone start hating the diagonal deployment? It's like weird. Like WTC doesn't have it. It's fucking weird that people don't like a deployment for the game. I don't know.
Yeah. We also don't like beta decima. So I mean, we're allowed to not like parts of the game. It's not like
diagonal's not competitive.
I don't know. Have you tried to get cover on a diagonal deployment?
Hell yeah, dude. I fucking love that shit. Hell yeah.
Oh, the shooting team loves it. Oh yeah,
dude.
Yeah, the guy who's like, I can flip you to engage and shoot across. Yeah. You would love it. Yeah. It's
the hardest maps to make are hamburger maps. The hardest.
Ooh, that's true. This is true.
The easiest maps to make are hot dog. The second easiest is diagonal. The hardest maps are hamburger because there's so little space in between each one, and there's 6 inches of fucking openness, which seems like a mistake. Why not just make a secondary board that's 4 hamburger maps that's just 3 inches deployment on either side? Like, what the fuck do you use the back 3 inches for? Nothing.
Yeah. Well, so here's a thought. It might be difficult. What if they did hamburger, but you only had 3-inch deployment? Because the middle is just so condensed.
I mean, they should.
It'd take a lot longer. Like melee teams are going to be they're like 3 years just to get down there. And like,
well, it would be a 15-inch wide board, I think. No, 30 minus 6 is not 15 inches because I'm bad at math. It's 24 inches. It would be a 24-inch by 22-inch board.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, so maybe you should fix it, Dakotah. You gotta do it. So
somebody has to.
Yeah. But I do believe that'd be the hardest deployment to make anything for. Oh, but dude, we should mention one more thing before we're done because we're greedy and we can just do whatever we want. Mm-hmm. The book club. So if you didn't make the last one, we'll post. We don't have a firm date yet, do we? For the next.
No, I think we were looking at.
It's going to be next week,
July 10th ish. I think we were looking at for to sit down and finish Eisenhorn. So if you have finished Eisenhorn, or if you're finishing up Eisenhorn, you can join us in our Discord chat. We all jump into a call and then we all talk about the book, and then we'll move on to the next one probably later that week.
The first book club was international. We had people from Australia.
We did.
So it was a really big deal. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. If you didn't make the first one, just jump in for the second one. Fantastic time discussing. Mostly we discuss about how ignorant and how little knowledge I have about pretty much everything in life. So it's fun. You get to find out how little I know while we go through these. But yeah, if you didn't make the first one, you can still jump into the second one. It's a lot of fun just to have the discussion. And whether you make it or not, definitely get your butt to San Diego on July 27th and be part of that tournament.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Until next time.
The Squad Games podcast is a production of Squad Games Entertainment. For more information on Squad Games, please visit our website at lestersworkshop.com/squad-games.